What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the DFS Dose live stream. Waiting on three, and we're going to be back in this Underdog puppy $5 entry, 50K to first. We're
Almost
vibing.
filled. 8 days
Almost
in,
filled.
about 60% filled. So they're definitely going to run another tournament of the same size. I would think maybe even a little bit larger. Honestly,
They could definitely get away with it. Why not?
this is crazy. I've never seen a contest fill this fast in the middle of July when usually this is kind of like the dead period for
hmm
fantasy football. Everybody's kind of just reiterating the same takes that they've been saying for the last 4 or 5 months. But it's never dead now with best ball in these tournaments. There's plenty of action out there, so it's lit. So we got one person, and looks like we are filled.
It's a go.
Let's go. And I have the 1-7 IC. Shout out to IC, member of our Discord. 1-2. Ben with the 1-3. A lot of sharps in this draft, and the underdog ADP has shifted quite a
Yeah.
bit.
I guess people have been seeing the same information. It's interesting that someone made this point today that no site has ever been impacted more than Underdog has by fantasy Twitter.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. You have like two or three main, podcasts and fantasy providers that are just clear cut shifting the ADP on certain players and just positions in general. We're seeing now wide receivers are getting taken 20, 25 picks ahead of ADP
hmm
of where they were going 1 month ago. And it's kind of crazy. The running back value is getting up there. Josh Jacobs' ADP is at pick 70 now. And at that spot, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I'll draft him, but it is kind of crazy to see how it's shifting. But yeah,
Yeah,
there.
from Establish the Runs, Mike Leone earlier, he said inside the top 200 of ADP from last week, the top 30 risers are all wide receivers, which is that's absolutely crazy.
Makes sense though, because by the end of round 10, there's nothing left at wide receiver. Absolutely nothing. So
I'm gonna do something a little crazy here, not to derail what you're saying, but this is a strategy that I've been getting into lately. All right,
Tyreek Hill at the 1-3.
how many Tyreek Hill builds are gonna have the same players coming around in the second and third round as here? Natural differentiation. Got
That
to
is
get weird.
that is true. Now, when you draft Tyreek Hill though, are you looking to draft Patrick Mahomes like in the fourth round and maybe even in the third round in your case?
In the third round, no, not. I mean,
Wow.
not this
If he
early.
falls to the fourth, is
Yes.
is when you would. I mean,
Yeah.
right here, Camara falls to me at 1-7.
Beautiful.
That's an easy pick right there.
Yeah.
I don't I don't mind taking high upside wide receiver like Hill or Diggs in the first round. 1-3 might be a little too rich for my liking, but it's definitely unique. I just do really believe that you're going to need one or two of these running backs if you want to make it far into the playoffs on Underdog. So I always like to start out by getting a workhorse running back, and then if the draft falls correctly, I'll grab a second one. If it doesn't, a nice high end wide receiver one is a great consolation prize.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's purely a differentiation pick. Like, yeah, the optimal probably would have been Zeke or Henry or Kamara there, but just I like being different. If these Tyreek teams get through, at least I'll have some differentiation there.
That is true for sure.
And
And
running backs have been falling, like we were talking about. I mean, I saw, it's funny because last week on Monday, this was my first entry into this when we did the stream, and I'm on like my 41st right now. I've been like literally just hammering these, and sometimes you see some crazy things. I saw Najee Harris go in the mid third the other day. Like, you never
so,
know who's going to fall.
some drafts, certain players do fall. I've had some great value picks over the last week. But I just want to give an update. My timer is fixed now, which is good.
Is it
It is.
nice?
So shout out to me for fixing that. Finally have it at 30 seconds instead of 50 seconds. That was annoying, but yeah, I mean,
What are you thinking
Solid
here?
draft. I definitely need to get more entries into this though. This is probably like my 8th or ninth, and I wouldn't be surprised if this fills within the next 2 weeks. So I definitely want to get up to like 25.
Mm.
Would probably be my where I want to be. I mean, right here, these wide receivers are going crazy. It's hard not to take a running back here and just solidify my core of running backs, and I won't take any for like 8 rounds after this. I'm gonna go with Antonio Gibson here over Joe Mixon. So I'll
Mm.
get Alvin Kamara at 107 and Antonio Gibson at pick 18 in the second round, 2-6. I love that start for me, honestly. But wide receivers will be pretty grim by the time my next pick happens.
Indeed, they will. I mean, you might get lucky, be able to get that Michael Thomas, just go for the full Saints onslaught. Unfortunately, Aaron Jones goes there. Um,
I think you have to go Waller here. It's probably the optimal pick. Ben's thinking 210. I mean, CEH at 210. Okay.
right
Oh,
at
I
ADP.
mean, you're setting yourself up for a Chiefs onslaught.
I might be. Although the only problem is I doubt that I'll be able to get Mahomes. I mean, I'm not going to take him at 3-3. So,
I mean,
or should
you
I?
can't you can't take them. I don't think if you want an optimal team, but uh, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, CEH start would probably be pretty unique. So if you're just going straight for uniqueness, that's probably the pick. But if you're going optimal, it's probably Kittle here.
J. Jeff goes. I mean, Keenan Allen is definitely interesting. If I'm not mistaken, the Chargers do play. Do they play the Chiefs in the playoffs? Fantasy playoffs?
The
What is
Chargers
it?
do, yes.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Keenan Allen. Okay, I
Yeah.
I would have went with Kittle right there, but Keenan is fine, especially with the correlation in the playoffs.
Yep. Week
But
14. So I mean, this could also just end up being a Chargers stack if I get Herbert at better value than Mahomes with two built-in bringbacks in the Chiefs. So
yep, and this dude takes Mahomes.
yep.
He has Travis Kelsey, so that makes sense. And I'm locked into one of CeeDee Lamb, Scary Terry, A Rob. So I'm very happy with my start. CeeDee Lamb goes, so have my choice of these three guys.
Keep in mind, we talked about this at length on our most recent podcast, but the Washington football team is the Week 15 matchup for the Cowboys, so you get a little built-in correlation there with Antonio Gibson if you go with Cooper or, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cooper here. I just want the wide receiver that's attached to the best offense, and maybe one of these guys falls. But even at my next pick in the fourth round, I'll still be able to get a solid wide receiver too. If Julio, Woods, Godwin is there, I'm fine with all of those guys. So, liking my start a lot. Loving this start, and I'm just gonna hammer wide receivers from this point in the draft forward. Think it makes the most sense, especially in this economy.
In this economy, yeah, I swear to God.
You're gonna have to reach on wide receivers. It's unfortunate, but J.K. Dobbins 310. That's kind of surprising. I've seen him fall recently. I'm just hoping another wide receiver falls to me, a good one.
Who would you like in this range?
Right here, I'm probably want either one of DJ Moore or Chris Godwin.
Hmm.
I'm fine with either. There's 4 picks in between. My next pick, DJ Moore goes. That's a tough scene.
I think right here is where Godwin's gonna go.
Yeah, probably.
That would be my guess, right before you.
Let's see.
This guy's gonna go Julio or
Oh,
Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett at 4-3. No, thank you.
I'm starting to come around to Chris Carson in this range. Well, he goes right there, but I know it's the running back dead zone and all, but Chris Carson, God, he's just set up for a monster workload in elite offense.
I 100% agree. I didn't expect Julio to fall, so I'm going to take Julio here as my wide receiver too.
I like that.
Just
Get him
bet,
about 4 picks after ADP there.
just betting on Julio still being the same player that he was, even 2 years ago. He was hurt majority of last year, but he was still good. He was top 5 in yards per route run in his healthy games last year. Now he's going to another good offense with Tannehill, AJ Brown. Probably less volume, but should be more efficient, and I could see him scoring 8+ touchdowns as well. So just betting on talent with Julio there over some of these other guys.
See, this is the range where I start to really wonder about going with Miles Sanders, Oh, he goes, so that decision's made for me. Probably pushes me in a more optimal direction to go with the wide receiver 3 here. Cooper Kupp, take him a couple spots after ADP.
Yeah. See what IC does.
I see.
He's got a little Vikings stat going right now with Dalvin and JJ and Darren Waller. I like it.
Comes back with Deontay as a wide receiver too. I like that. He should probably go with Kirk Cousins here at 5'2". Push one of these other players back to me.
Maybe Adam Thielen, just full on onslaught the Minnesota Vikings. Why not?
I like Lamar at 5'1". Solid start. Kenny G, solid pick by IC there.
What direction are you going in? Another wide receiver here? I think there is a tier break after Thielen. For me, would be a tier break. Pitts is also a good pick.
That's about what I'm thinking, to be honest with you. I am so aboard this Pitts train in the 5th round. It was tough a couple weeks ago when he was like solidified in the early 4th. Sometimes you'd even see him creep into the 3rd, but in the 5th round, I think it's a different story, especially like we talked about recently. The Falcons are just set up to have a monster playoff schedule for the Underdog season. What do we got? Week 15 playing the 49ers, if I'm not mistaken. Then they've got the Lions and the Bills. That's just, God.
And it's not even really the playoff schedule for me. It's the fact that there's no other competition for targets. I tweeted it, generational talent, good quarterback, a lot of pass attempts to go around. I mean, Kyle Pitts is going to smash. I think he's one of the best picks in the 5th round, honestly. Like, I would take him above, Kenny Galladay and some of these wide receivers going here, personally. Right here is interesting because I could go with Thielen as my wide receiver 3, or I could go with Josh Allen and potentially stack him later. Because getting Josh Allen as the QB3 is probably solid. So I'm going to go that direction.
He's more than the QB3. Kyler, Dak, Lamar. He's like the QB5.
Yeah, QB.
In this draft.
Excuse me, QB5.
That's a stone cold value for you.
Mid 5th. Not stacked, which is fine. I could target Beasley, Sanders, Gabe Davis later. So I got some options in the back end of the draft, but just couldn't pass him right there in the mid 5th.
See Josh Jacobs go at 5'8", right around ADP. His ADP is definitely adjusting. It was in the 40s not too long ago, so the fact that it's past 50 to 53.9. So Russell Wilson goes.
This is definitely a more standard draft, I would say. Not a lot of reaches so far. The running backs are not falling like they were in some of the drafts that we've done earlier today. Like I got Myles Gaskin and Chase Edmonds in like the 8th and 9th round, which is
That's wild.
Just pure value. And Josh Jacobs went in like the 7th round in the draft I did before this, so we're not seeing that here, which is kind of unfortunate. But This is kind of how I would like the draft to go, though. Honestly,
What direction are you going in with your next pick? Got you 1, 2, 2 so far. You need a tight end, need more receivers.
I'm gonna go with a wide receiver 3 here for sure. I'm happy with one of Claypool, Sutton, even Robbie Anderson. Preferably Sutton would be the guy that I would want as my wide receiver 3 here. Or I might go with Gallup here, actually, since
Mm-hmm.
Sutton just went. So I'll reach on Gallup a little bit, but then I'll have the double stack with. Oh well, I'm tripping. I thought I had Dak Prescott for a minute. I have Josh Allen. I'm out of it.
Just wake
So I'm
up.
not taking Gallup. I already have Amari. I'm gonna go with Chark. I like Chark more than Robbie Anderson and Jerry Judy.
Mm.
Um, I've seen a lot of hate around DJ Chark over the last couple of weeks on Twitter. I don't see. I think he's the undisputed wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville. He just has the alpha wide receiver 1 build that you want. Um, as a coach, 6'4", runs a 4.3, has shown that he can produce in the NFL. Went over 1,000 yards in his sophomore season. Hasn't had great quarterback play. That should change with Trevor Lawrence. Urban Meyer might be a donkey, which is unfortunate, but I definitely think that DJ Chark is set up well this year, even with some of the additions into the offense. I love the Jags just in general this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the offense is absolutely loaded, and if Trevor is what we expect him to be, this should definitely be a career year for DJ Chark. Here, I'm going to lock up a little bit of a reach in terms of ADP, but barely. Quarterbacks are flying. I don't mind going 5 picks early to get Justin Herbert to stack with Keenan Allen, and I've already got 2 pieces on the bring back for Week 15. This baby's advancing to round 2 of the Underdog playoffs.
I mean, you have a very, very good start um, to your team, especially if you make it to Week 15, because that Chargers and Chiefs matchup would probably be the highest total game on the slate when it happens. So I like that a lot.
Got I see here. Nabs Travis Etienne, 11 picks after ADP. That's a value.
I like ETN, especially if he's dropping into the 7th round.
Yeah, absolutely. I see solid team as always in these drafts. I'll go ahead and grab Kareem Hunt as my running back too. I mean, that's easy.
Easy peasy. I would have taken Kareem Hunt if he fell. That's unfortunate.
You still got a couple guys left. Trey, Mostert, Edmonds.
Honestly, I'm gonna take one of your potential stack players in Mike Williams here.
Solid, like Mike Will.
Well, spoke too soon.
Mm,
That's a tough scene.
that's a tough scene
So
right in front of you.
we're at pick 79, so I could go. You know what? I tweeted it. I need more shares of Chase Edmonds. Taking him right around his ADP. Get my 3 running backs. I'm pretty much set for the rest of the draft.
Yep, pretty solid. Probably just add a fourth at some point. You think you'll be going 5 with that build?
Four running backs with
4
this
running
build
backs.
for
Yeah,
sure.
that makes a lot of sense when you've got 3 coming out around 7. I think that 4 is definitely the way to go there.
Definitely not as many as many wide receivers as I would like, but I think my trio of running backs is very, very solid. And then, securing that high upside quarterback is kind of a priority for me in 2021. So not great in terms of the right wide receivers that are left, but I think I could definitely make it work here.
Mm.
All right. take a look at the draft board. Basically, it's just wide receiver central is these drafts. That's all it is. It's just wide receivers.
Damn, I didn't even peep that Brandon Cooks went. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks, Mike Will, Tyler
Oh shit.
Boyd.
See,
Everybody's going.
I'm in control of the draft screen today. Usually Joey does it. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm opening all types of windows.
All right.
See, this is the point where the wide receivers really start to dry up, in my opinion. And usually this was around later, so it is still happening. Like these were the guys that I'd be looking at in the early 9th, and I don't even know if any of them are going to make it back to me here at the 8th.
Yeah.
Curtis, AB.
None of
After
them
that, we're in this range, which is a different tier in my opinion. I mean, I do like some of these guys, Mecole, Parker, Mooney, but a little uncomfortable is what would be my wide receiver 4, your wide receiver 4s, if you go that route.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely taking a wide receiver here. Think I just have to. Got to start getting my depth up, and I have my choice: AB, Hollywood, Waddle. This is tough. All of these guys are kind of the same, honestly. In offenses with a lot of competition for targets, but I don't know. I guess I'm just taking like the old guys. I don't know, Julio, AB.
Yeah, man, this team would have been fire like 3 years ago.
Yeah. Wide receiver ones in 2015.
Yeah,
taking them in the 8th round in 2021. What a time to be alive.
love to see it.
I mean, on this bring back though, I definitely want another wide receiver. I don't pick for quite a bit actually, so that's unfortunate. But definitely a tier break. I would say after Mooney would be my tier break. What are you thinking here?
I think I'm going to go with a running back, just take a little bit of value here with Mostert. It correlates with Kyle Pitts. These are two teams that play each other in week 15. I like Mostert. I prefer Sermon, but I'll take Mostert after ADP as my running back 3 and just essentially hammer wide receivers for this next range because, whether I get Pittman, Hardman, Parker, or Mooney, I'm comfortable with all of those guys. They're all about the same to me.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, tier break for me after Mooney. After that, it gets very, very slim, in my opinion. So I'm hoping one of these guys falls to me, but wouldn't count on it.
Pittman and Parker, I think, are the sharp picks out of that group. I mean, they do have potential to be the wide receiver ones on their own team, whereas Mooney and Hardman don't. I'm going to go with Mooney, and that's an exposure pick. I've just been drafting a lot of Mecole Hardman lately. I know reports have been good. I've got a decent amount of Byron Pringle in the 17th and 18th as well as sort of a hedge, but not enough Mooney. Mooney has a shot, especially if Justin Fields takes over sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think Mooney is a very solid pick in the 9th round. Wide receiver 2 for Chicago. Justin Fields, I mean, he's going to start, I think, at least 14 games. I would give Andy Dalton like the first 2 weeks, and then it's Justin Fields' time. So,
yeah, and I mean, Mooney, underrated rookie season, had 61 receptions for 630 yards, 4 touchdowns. Could have much improved quarterback play if Justin Fields starts the majority of the season.
I got to go with Gage, I guess. He probably... I mean, I could have went with Corey Davis or Elijah Moore, but Gage correlates with Josh Allen. The Bills and the Falcons play in the Underdog playoffs. Not my favorite pick, but it makes sense for this team.
Yep, and this is what we're really starting to see. I mean, it looks like an ADP reach slightly here, but I think that as ADPs adjust to what we've been seeing over the past couple of days, Gage's ADP and all these wide receivers in this range's ADPs are going to be higher. So I don't mind reaches like that in this range.
Yeah.
Things are drying up fast, though.
Yes, 100%. All of these wide receivers that are left are going to be drafted by the end of round 10. Like Gabriel Davis, Moore, Marvin Jones, all these guys are going to go.
You're going to
Sure.
be looking to get, Gabe Davis pick here coming back, or Cole Beasley perhaps, or just wait until the Emmanuel Sanders range for your Bill stack.
I mean, they're all going like within a couple rounds of each other, so I'm fine taking whatever one falls to me. I'm not looking to target a specific one. I think they're all going to have their specific roles in the offense, but it's going to be Diggs as the target hog, and then all of these guys are just going to fill in for like 5-6 targets per game.
That's absolutely disrespectful of Gabriel Davis. It's going to be averaging 8 to 9 targets per game easily.
No, Gabriel Davis is going to average 5 targets, maybe 4.5 targets per game, and he's going to be exclusively a deep threat. Hate to say it, but it's true.
I sure hope not. So does my bankroll.
I mean, right here, if Noah Fant falls, I'm taking him. I'll say that. If Fant falls, I am drafting Noah Fant. He goes, so I just need to stop opening my big fat mouth because every time I speak, they take the player that I want.
That's good shit. What you got here? I mean, you do need a tight end.
I'm going to go with the guy that got a hefty contract in free agency, and Corey Davis.
I like that. We hear that Keelan Cole's going to be in the rotation, that Denzel Mims isn't doing great. Elijah Moore's on the rise. The one thing that we don't hear anything about is Corey Davis because he's just locked and loaded. They gave him a huge contract, and he's going to be an every down player for the Jets.
Every down player. How much money did they give him? Like $40 million, right?
They give him a fat deal.
It was a fat paycheck. So I'm fine with taking
3 years, $37.5 million.
Yeah.
27 mil guaranteed. That's bands.
I'm fine with taking a former, top 6 pick. In this range of just rookies that are speculative at best, in my opinion. And Rondale Moore, I mean, Corey Davis is going to outscore Moore, Bateman, Jones, 1,000,000%. So I'm starting to come around to Corey Davis, and I'm still getting over this cold that I had like 2 weeks ago, which is unfortunate. So that's kind of why I'm coughing. Didn't know a cold lasted 2+ weeks, but
you must have gotten the Delta variant of the common cold.
Gabe Davis, in the 10th round.
Yeah, I mean, God, there's probably not a better wide receiver 5. And like you mentioned, it got a little mini correlation there with Pitts and Davis for the final round of the Underdog playoffs.
Right here is probably the range where I'll start targeting my tight ends. Even though I'm kind of not high on Gesicki or Irv Smith or Troutman, we're starting to get into the range where those guys are definitely possibilities if they fall to me. I could go with another running back here. If Henderson falls, I like that a lot. Just securing my 4 running backs in the first 11 rounds. Even Kenyon Drake. I think that's the direction I'm going to go. I think I'm going to get my RB4 here, be done with the running back position. All of these wide receivers are pretty much the same. So there's really no point for me to reach on a specific guy. I can come on the bring back and get Cole or get Sanders for a stack, and everything will be just fine.
Couple decent running backs left.
Henderson goes, of course. Now Kenyon Drake is going to go, and I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake definitely going with this pick.
Trey Lance is still available, which is tempting. Very tempting, actually.
Yeah, decent value. Decent value with Trey Lance here.
Do I take Trey Lance or Kenyon Drake here? That's the question. Do I take Trey Lance or Kenyon Drake? I have Josh Allen.
I don't know, brother. That's a tough choice. That's a real tough choice.
I'm gonna go with Drake. Right at ADP.
I
I'm
think that
fine.
makes sense.
I'm fine waiting on a QB2, even though I did seriously consider Lance there. But I think securing RB4 and just being done with the position is probably better than taking, a second quarterback when I already have a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, and it would have been different if you had Kittle or Ayuk or Debo, but you
Yeah,
don't. So
think I made the correct pick there.
Beasley
Kobe
goes 11-9.
Cole Beasley goes. I might be looking at an unstacked Josh Allen for the win.
Little naked Josh Allen.
Yeah.
People in Buffalo love that.
Now I guess I'm kind of forced to take Sanders here if he falls to my next pick, which he could fall, he could not fall. If he does, then I'll take him. If he doesn't, I'm not too worried about it. Realistically, is Sanders going to be a difference maker on this team? Is he going to
No,
make my starting lineup, all that frequently when I have Kamara, Gibson, Edmonds as my running backs, Amari, Julio, DJ Chark? Probably not. So if he falls, I'm gonna take him though. But I mean, if Trey Lance falls, it might be Trey Lance season actually, because ADP of 116, and we're at pick 135 right now. So we'll see. Nobody wants to take him for some reason.
is this guy gonna take him?
Did some news happen or what?
This guy's already got 5 running backs in the 12th round.
I mean, his team is dead. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Is that already?
His team is dead for sure.
No Trey Lance news. Did a quick little Google search. We straight. And
mean,
you lock him up there at 138, 22 picks after
That's
ADP?
an easy pick. I don't care.
God damn.
That's an easy pick as my QB2. And now I'm done with quarterback and running back. So my attention now will be tight ends and wide receivers. And I think drafting tight ends late, like in the 13th, 14th round, is starting to become one of my favorite strategies because I've seen Hunter Henry fall into the 16th round, which is blasphemous.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
If he's healthy, he's a tight end 1. I don't care. I'll put it out there. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a Pats fan. I think if Jonnu and Hunter Henry stay healthy for the whole year, they're both going to finish as top 15 tight ends in fantasy. So I don't care.
I mean, I think that's true. What do you think about this pick here? Is Justin Herbert going to be a consistent enough quarterback that I don't have to worry about drafting 3 with Justin Fields, who may only play half the season?
Yes.
Because I feel great about that. I feel great about that as just a 2 quarterback build. I've got the Mooney stack built in. I don't know. I love that.
If you have Justin Fields and Justin Herbert as your 2 quarterbacks, I think you don't take a QB3. Absolutely not. Because you have the young upside rookie that can run the ball, and we should see him do that quite a bit once he starts. And then obviously you have the Chargers offense stacked, which is just a great stack to have this year. Explosive, talented players at every position for the Chargers, and they went out and they upgraded their offensive line, which I think has been kind of overlooked too. Their offensive line is great now. So, love Justin Herbert. Not expecting any type of major regression in his sophomore year.
If anything, he might regress positively with the departure of Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, honestly, because you get a young, sharp head coach in Brandon Staley coming in from the Rams. And, you get Anthony Lynn, who went to Detroit, out. So I think we definitely could see the Chargers offense take a step forward. And that team in general is very, very talented. They've just kind of had bad luck with injuries over the last like 3 years. I mean, this is an easy pick for a stack. But they could definitely compete with the Chiefs low key for that AFC West title. But I would still expect the Chiefs to be the guys there, obviously.
I like that Emmanuel Sanders pick as your wide receiver 7. You get the stack, you don't force it, you get it 9 picks after ADP.
Uh,
That's solid.
nobody wants to take them.
I mean, he is old as dirt, to be fair.
That is true. That is true. So I'm definitely going to start taking tight ends with my next 2 picks, maybe even 3. I think with this build specifically would be a build where I take 3 tight ends, and I'm just hoping one of these next 5 guys in the tight end pool falls to me. And it's looking like they will. A lot of people in front of me have 2 tight ends, so I wouldn't expect them to go tight end here. But I'm really liking my team so far. I love my running back core. Getting Kamara at pick 7, I think, is a steal, is a smash. Antonio Gibson as my RB2 is great. I think got my quarterback and Josh Allen. Got wide receivers that I like, some that I don't like, but I'm loving my team so far. This has been a very, very solid draft.
Absolutely. So we got this team here. Let's see what we got. What's Scotty doing at the turn? The 12th pick.
Scotty knows.
Okay. Mike Evans stack. I like it. Adam Troutman right at ADP. That's a waste of a pick.
Adam Troutman is the clear-cut, like, biggest fade at the tight end position.
Yeah.
Even bigger than Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Nah, Adam Troutman is a terrible pick. I'm sorry.
Remember when Jacoby Myers was a 20th round pick on drafters like a month ago?
Yeah, Jacoby Myers, my son, my birthday twin. That's my boy.
Yeah.
That is my absolute favorite player in the NFL. It's Jacoby Myers. We share a birthday. He's actually pretty solid. Like, he's actually a talented wide receiver, and we got him after the draft. He was undrafted rookie, same class as N'Keal Harry, who they took in the first round, and is going to be off the team. Meanwhile, Jacoby Myers is going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots. Right here, if Jesse lets me have him, I'm taking Hunter Henry as my tight end 1, which I think is great in the 14th round. They went out, gave him $40 million. Like, him and Jonnu are gonna be the guys in that offense. So, let me get Hunter.
God, I can't believe he's going in the 160s.
I mean, that's just disrespectful.
It is.
Like we talked, like I just said, Adam Troutman, biggest fade. Hunter Henry is my biggest buy at tight end in the 160s. I honestly, I don't think there's that many I don't think there's competition for targets in New England. I think it's Jonnu, Hunter Henry, Jacoby, and then Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne will sprinkle in here and there. I think the offense is gonna be ran through the tight ends. The tight ends in the running game, like it's 2010.
Get a little Tyrell Williams action as my wide receiver 7.
That's solid.
Reports are that Brashad Perryman has been struggling. Meanwhile, Tyrell and Amon-Ra St. Brown are doing pretty well in Lions camp. So Perryman might be the fade out of these 3, and you can all get them. I mean, they're damn near free at this point if you want some Lions receivers. And we talked about it on the last episode of our podcast. The Lions may not be a team that you want to stack in it of themselves, but they are the perfect team to include in bringbacks. Their playoff schedule for Underdog is insane. They got the Cardinals, Falcons, and Seahawks. Just a lot of
three stacks that people gravitate towards, especially the Seahawks and the Cardinals stack. Very cheap bring back players, like you mentioned. the rookie wide receiver, Tyrell Williams, Brashard Perryman, and then the two Lions guys that are actually going kind of high, and TJ Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift. If you go like D Hop in round one, you can go Kyler Murray in the 5th and get TJ Hawkinson in the 6th. That's a pretty good stack, I think.
Absolutely.
So right here, all 3 of these guys have tight ends, or 2 tight ends, I should say. I only have 1, so I think I'm gonna be able to get Blake Jarwin here as my tight end too, which I love. Love.
Big Blake Jarwin guy.
Unless one of these guys snipes me. I just think there is, maybe after Ferkser, I think there is a tier break at tight end. So these guys are viable, and then it goes to not viable, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'm looking here. I have Julio, so I could do Ferkser if I want, but I also have Cooper. So
there's also a secret tight end in the 18th round. Maybe we could talk about that when we get there. Mentioned it before the podcast.
Oh yeah. One of the best 18th round tight ends, honestly. Maybe not the best, but
it's up there.
It's up there, especially if you have a stack of the team, which I stacked in the draft before this one. It was phenomenal, but Jesus, my team is fire. I don't care. My team is fire. Just from the jump, getting Kamara at 7 just set the tone for my draft.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to look at your team. It keeps going back to mine every time someone makes a pick.
The best way is just to open the draft board. Right there, yep. So I'm drafting out of the 1-7 spot, which you can see on the screen. Kamara, Gibson, Amari, Julio, Josh Allen, DJ Chark.
Just range up.
Love my team. Although, wide receivers kind of fell off, and that's probably my thinnest position, I would say. I'm fine with my 2 tight ends. Like, I actually really do like these guys. But wide receivers are probably my thinnest position. But even then, I still think some of these guys are viable for fantasy.
Oops. Over zoomed on that one.
Ben doesn't know how to work a screen, guys.
Chill on me. Look, we're back. We back. Come on. Just got to scroll for like 6 rounds to get to where we actually are.
So,
Tariq Cohen. How do you feel about the recent news about Tariq Cohen?
It's kind of a tough scene.
Considering
honestly.
You drafted him for about, 30 drafts straight last month.
Yeah, he's like one of my highest owned players on drafters, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, tough scene. What are you gonna do? Apparently, he's still in recovery mode. I don't know if he'll be ready before the end of the season, and he's actually like fallen quite a bit. Vince Young, Heisman winner, right? I don't know.
Young Vince. You think it's the same guy? Is that the real Vince Young?
Vince Young, formerly, what was he, a first overall pick for the Titans, drafted on Underdog $5 best ball tournament here. He took Tariq Cohen. Usually, or what I've seen over the last couple of days is he doesn't even get drafted anymore. The motto of my team is Dust. So I'm taking Dusty AJ.
Damn. That's big Dusty energy.
Correlates with my Dallas players for that last week. But AJ Green, let me just say it. He's going to be a 90% snap player. They're going to run the horizontal raid, air raid offense out in Arizona. They're going to have 4 wide receivers on the field a good majority of the time. Him and D-Hop are going to be on the outside. Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore are going to be the slot guys. So he's going to be in like kind of the same position that he was in last year in Cincinnati, and he saw targets, and I think he'll get targets again this year. It's just he most likely is dust, but as my wide receiver 8, I'm fine with taking a shot on AJ Green. But a question that I wanted to ask you is Byron Pringle or Demarcus Robinson? Which one?
I'm more in favor of Pringle.
One of these guys has to step up for the Chiefs, right? Because you got Travis Kelsey, you got Tyreek Hill. Who else? You know, everybody's banking on Hardman, and I think that is a good bet. I do like Hardman quite a bit this year, but they're gonna run, 3 wide receiver sets. So who's that wide receiver 3? It's either Robinson or Pringle, right? And the thing with Robinson for me is he's been in the NFL for like 5 years, and he's shown us that he's capable of like 400 yards in a year. And I've said it before, but people show you who they are over time, especially in the NFL, and he's never going to be that guy. So I'm starting to just completely eliminate him, from my player pool and just focus on getting Pringle. I will say I do have Robinson shares, but I'm just coming off that train.
I was just gonna see, looking real quick. Wait, results NFL. Never mind. I don't know how to do this. I was going to look at my exposure. I think I have dead even exposure of Pringle and Mecole Hardman, just taking that bet, and almost no Robinson. I think I'm at about 18% of both of those guys. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much edge, I think, and especially like I took Byron Pringle in a draft earlier today with the second to last pick of the 18th round. Like if you can get a guy who has the potential to be, playing 60% of snaps in the Chiefs offense as a wide receiver 3, or even as the wide receiver 4, I think you absolutely have to take that.
True.
I mean, who else are you going to be drafting in that range? Zach Pascal, Tutu Atwell, please.
Just get another Falcons wide receiver, correlates well with
You see this right here?
with the Bills. Tim Tebow.
He is officially listed as a tight end here. So this man has 4 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends and 5 wide receivers going into the final round.
Shout out to Jesse 1322. Hopefully you're not in the chat, but thanks for the free EV.
Yeah.
Thanks for your $5.
This is essentially an 11-team draft after that.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunate for him. But there's always 1 or 2 of those guys in every draft. So what are you going to do?
Shout out to them.
But yeah, I mean, I got a lot of correlation, and if you're watching, you can find that episode link down below in the description. Take you right to our podcast feed where we talk about how to correlate or what stacks we like in the Underdog playoffs. So I have the Josh Allen, Sanders stack, and then they play the Falcons in the playoffs and they play the Patriots in the playoffs. So Hunter Henry correlates well with that stack. Got Olamide Zaccheaus, Russell Gage, which correlates with that stack. Amari Cooper, Blake Jarwin, just stacking the Cowboys without the quarterback. AJ Green correlation, they play in the playoffs.
Gibson as well, they play week 15.
Yep, Gibson as well. So
just an ultra correlated team that you've got there.
Yep. Chase Edmonds, Arizona as well with the Amari Cooper, Blake Jarwin. So just the little things that you could do to give yourself an edge, just because a lot of people aren't doing it. Mac Jones in the 18th round, I like that pick a lot, especially if you have Patriots wide receivers and you want to go 3 quarterbacks, because he's not going to be 100% owned. And I tweeted this, but I think Mac Jones will start sooner than later. Starting to come around to it. So right here, I could go with a tight end 3, and I'll do it just for the conversation of who we like. in the 20th round.
Noah Gray. 5th round pick, Kansas City Chiefs, traded up for him. What do you like about him? Tight end whisperer.
Yeah, I mean, we just know that in football, there's a lot of injuries. Anything can happen. Um, Travis Kelsey isn't immune to injuries. He can get injured just like everybody else, although he's been relatively healthy throughout his entire career. Um, God forbid if something does happen to him, I think Noah Gray is the guy that becomes the tight end one for the best offense in the NFL. And the coaches have already said that his best attribute is his ability to catch the ball, his ability to create separation from defenders. Like you mentioned, they traded up for him, albeit a 5th round pick. They still wanted to get this guy on their team. The guy in front of him is Blake Bell, who is a pure scrub.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too concerned about Blake Bell. I think Noah Gray going into week 1 is the tight end 2. And if things go right for him, he could become the tight end 1 for the Chiefs, barring a Travis Kelsey injury. So starting to come around to him in the 18th round as your tight end 3. Just take a shot on a guy that could be a difference maker in the playoffs if something happens to Kelsey. And honestly, he could still even have a role with Kelsey there
He could.
in 2 tight end sets. So it's not the worst pick, but
Let's take a look at your team here. See what we're coming away with. Got the 2-4-9-3 build. Josh Allen to Emmanuel Sanders with correlated bringbacks across the board. Super solid team in my opinion.
uh, I like my team a lot. 9 wide receivers, 2-4-9-3 is the build that I went, which I think is solid, especially if you're getting Kamara, Gibson, Chase Edmonds, Kenyon Drake as your 4 running backs. I think you only need 4 in that instance. Could have went with the wide receiver 10, could have went with the tight end 3, opted to go the tight end 3 route. Honestly, wide receiver 10 would probably be like the optimal pick according to like the experts, but let's be real, all of these guys are the same. They're probably not going to make your roster in any single week, and it's really just whoever can get lucky and hit the high end of variance with their 18th round pick. And you get an injury that goes your way and your guy's a full-time player now and gets 100 targets.
Mm-hmm. Man, I mean, God, 5 years ago, this would have been insane. Julio, AB, AJ Green. Got the Dusty team at wide receiver.
I
Mixed
got
it
the
with some young talent, though.
got
Cooper
the
Sharp.
got the dust wide receivers that will probably produce but won't hit their ceiling a lot of the time. But I mixed it in, like you said, with some younger guys that I think can, and DJ Chark, Amari Cooper. We talked about it earlier, but Julio Jones, I still think is an elite wide receiver in the NFL. So I like my core of guys, but it's not the best. I'll say it. It's not great, but I think that this team definitely has a chance to make it out.
Speaking of a team with a chance to make it out, went with the 2-5-9-2 build here. Like the quarterbacks, both are stacked. Got Herbert with Keenan Allen. I was going to go with Josh Palmer as my final round pick, but he got sniped. Ended up going with an old man myself here and Deshaun Jackson. Got some Chargers correlation in the playoffs. They play the Chiefs in the first week of the Underdog playoffs, which is my first 2 picks, Tyreek Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, week 15. They play the Texans, so I've got Nico Collins on the bring back there. And then just a little bit of a Bears double stack. Yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton might play a few games, but after that, we're going to have Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet sailing to the moon. Kyle Pitts is a value in the 5th round. I'm a big fan of this team, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty solid team. A lot of high upside guys. You can never go wrong when your top 2 wide receivers are Tyreek and Keenan Allen. Tyreek Hill at 103 is probably honestly like the most surprising pick in this draft. But it makes sense when you're drafting with a lot of sharp players that have access to all of the same information, and all of the strategies are just becoming mainstream and getting used in every single draft now. So Underdog is hard. It
It
really
is.
is. DraftKings is probably the site that you want to draft on if you want the biggest edge. Drafters is pretty sharp too, but Underdog is probably the sharpest. So, you know, if you want to draft on here, you got to know what you're doing. But it's definitely good to go away from consensus with some of your entries, especially if you're a high volume player.
And they're not all going to be winners on Underdog. For example,
Sorry, Jesse 1322, but
you can't leave the draft with 5 wide receivers, my friend.
yeah.
You can't do that.
Hey, I mean, he does have Diggs, AJ Brown, so he's got two, alpha wide
Mm.
receiver ones.
Another alpha if you include Brandon Cooks.
Absolutely not. Devontae Smith could work out. Watch this team wins the $1 million, or comes in first place.
Yeah.
This isn't Best Ball Mania too.
Right. Well, we'll just wait till Trevor Lawrence tears his ACL, and then he's got a starting quarterback in his tight end spot for the whole year.
That's low key a narrative that you could push.
Low key.
Low key. If you get him at tight end and he, has to play some quarterback in the season, could be a
Yeah.
cheat code.
I mean, people were smashing with Taysom Hill when he was a tight end on Yahoo, bro.
Right.
Last year, people were up in arms about that. Last team I think we can go over here is IC. Shout out to him, member of the Discord, which you guys can also join. Link is free in the description to this video. And IC with another solid team here. Got the 3-5-8-2. Starts off with, sort of a Vikings onslaught. He's got Kirk, Dalvin Cook, and Justin Jefferson. Late Rodgers stack as well, stacked up with MVS, which I love at pick 191. He's one of my highest owned players. Lands a super solid tight end core with Darren Waller, past ADP, and Gerald Everett as well.
Yeah.
This is a super solid team.
Yep. Pretty solid team out of IC. He knows what he's doing because he's in the drafts every single day.
Yeah.
He's a volume player. And like Ben mentioned, if you want to join our Discord, link is down below in the description to join that as well, where we literally talk about best ball every day.
Every single day. And we'll be back talking about best ball, I'm sure, on Thursday when the next episode of our podcast drops. If you aren't already, make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use, whether that be Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or Podcast Addict, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Anything else, Big Joe, before we get out of here?
Nope. All that I need to say is I'm definitely winning the puppy. You'll see Big Joe at the number 1 spot at the end of the year in this contest.
Are you going to buy a puppy with your puppy winnings?
Absolutely not. Because you see, my apartment in the background, you have to pay to have a pet. So
Right.
I'm not paying extra money to have a pet like on my rent. I'm not doing that, first of all. Then you got to pay
Every month or just like a
every
one-time
month.
payment?
Every month. Then there's breed restrictions and weight restrictions too. So, if I wanted to get a nice pit bull, can't do that. And I love pits. Okay? Like, my girl had a pit at her old house, which stayed there because obviously he's going to come with us. Best dog ever. But yeah, so you got to pay for that, and then obviously all of the fees that come with owning a dog. You would know. You had a dog for some time. The vet bills and all that shit. Just, I'm good on that.
Food, walking them, picking up his shit.
Got to take care of them. Could barely even take care of myself. Probably be homeless. Probably be homeless next year. So
About to be homeless if you don't ship the puppy.
yeah, I won't even be in this apartment next year because I'm gonna be under the Erie Canal Bridge off Lyle Avenue after I lose all my money in best ball. So, but yeah, no animals over here. Too much work, too much money. I don't got it like that.
Yeah. Glad we got that last little bit of analysis in here on the stream.
Right.
Thank you guys for watching.
Anybody that lives in an apartment knows. They know.
Yeah. No, it's a fact.
They kill you with that stuff. Like it's just.
You paying
However,
for a dog, you paying for installing your own little air conditioner,
yeah.
you paying for everything.
However, America can drain as much money out of you as possible. They're gonna do it in any way, shape, or form. They are going to do it. So.
And it's completely unacceptable unless it's the 11.3% rate in the puppy.
Yeah.
That I'll gladly pay. I'll pay that every day.
every day, and multiple times a day.
All right, man. That's gonna be it. We'll talk to you guys on the next podcast on Thursday. We'll see you then.